Hi there, today I'm going to be showing you how you can use the Lookup Spreadsheet Row action from the Google Sheets app in Zapier. And although this is quite a simple action, I'm going to show you how we can use it in a powerful way in order to overcome the 500 row import limit imposed on Google Sheets actions in Zapier. So if we look at the available actions here in Zapier, you'll see that the Get Many Spreadsheet Rows action is limited to 500 rows, and the Lookup Spreadsheet Rows action is also limited to 500 rows maximum. So I'm going to show you how we can use the Lookup Spreadsheet Row action to overcome this 500 row limitation. As I show in the Zapier import multiple rows from Google Sheets post, it is possible to overcome the 500 row limit by sending a webhook from your Google Sheet to Zapier containing more than 500 rows. However, as I mentioned in this post, this method is limited to sending 10 megabytes of data. So if you want to send more than 10 megabytes of data from Google Sheets to Zapier, then you'll have to use the lookup value method I'm going to go through in this video. If it's less than 10 megabytes though, then I highly recommend you check out this post. If it's more than 10 megabytes, stay tuned for the rest of this video. Okay, so let's check out the Google Sheet example we'll be using in this blog post. So it's a very simple sheet. We've just got all the people's first names, their order numbers, their email address, their phone number, and then we've got a column here which will tell us if their delivery will be delivered today. So the first thing we are going to do here is create a Google script. So we go to Extensions, App Script. Then to create a new one, we are going to click the plus icon, go Script. Then in the blog post here, I've linked to the GitHub file, which contains all the code we need. So let's just copy this all in. And then paste it into our Google script. And then I'm going to call this one, I already have a concatenate row, so I'm going to call this one, and I also have a send row, so I'm just going to call it send underscore rows. And I'm just going to rename this to match it. And then I'm just going to hit save. And now I'm just going to give you a quick run through of what the script does. So this line here just gets a reference to the sheet we want to pull the data from, which in this case is the customer database sheet, this one here. And then this rows variable is going to store all the data we get from this sheet. Then we initialize 4 variables, the names, orders, emails, and phone string. And then we are going to use a for loop to cycle through each row in this Google Sheet one by one. And in the case that the delivery today column is equal to true, so when using JavaScript, the indexes start counting from 0. So what I mean by that is this is index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here we are accessing the 4th index in row number I. So the 4th index is the delivery today column. And when this is equal to true, we'll come in to this section of the for loop. So therefore, the overarching goal of this for loop is to only populate these 4 strings when the delivery today column is true. If you don't want this extra bit of logic in your code, you can just delete this part here and the corresponding curly bracket here. So you can see if I mouse over this curly bracket, this other one here lights up. So you can just delete this and delete this. And now when your for loop runs, it will pull in every single row in this sheet, no matter what the value of the delivery today column is. However, if you do want the delivery today column logic in there, then just leave this in. Now, to show you what this inner part of the for loop is doing, I'll show you what the output of these desired 4 strings is. So I'm going to run the script here. And we can see the value of the 4 strings, the name string, the order string, the email string, and the phone string. We can see each of the output values that we want. And this is what this inner part of the for loop achieves. So in the case that the delivery today column is equal to true, we want to take this value, add it to the name string, take this value, add it to the order string, take this value, add it to the email string, and take this value and add it to the phone string. And then we want to repeat this for each row where the delivery today column is equal to true. So our for loop will go through every row in this sheet, make this evaluation to see if delivery today is true. And if it is true, let's add each of these 4 values to their 4 respective strings. So we can see that the first time we come in to this section here, we check to see if the name string is equal to nothing, basically. That just means it's empty. If you put the 2 inverted commas with nothing in between, you're just asking, is the name string empty? If the name string is empty, let's just store the name in the name string, order in the order string, email in the email string, and phone in the phone string. However, the second time we come in here, the name string will not be empty. It will have a value already in it, like Tyron1. So then we want to take whatever value is already in the name string, add the asterisk character, and then let's add the new value. Let's add the new name to the name string, like Tyron3 here. And then we'll come into this section again. There's already a value in the name string, so we don't come in here. We go to the else statement here, and then we'll take whatever is in name string already, which will be Tyron1 asterisk Tyron3. Let's add another asterisk, and then let's add the new name, which will be Tyron6. And then we repeat this for all 4 of the strings each time the delivery today column is equal to true. And then the output after this for loop runs is these 4 variables where we have all the names, order numbers, emails, and phone numbers for anyone with a delivery today, all joined together with the asterisk character. So then replacing these 4 print statements with our original code, I'll explain what the remaining part of the code does. So this submissions variable is just being set equal to the reference to the concatenated column sheet. So that's this sheet over here. And then this row variable stores the last row in this sheet plus 1. So we're getting the next available row number with this line of code here. So in this case, the next available row number would be row number 17. The get last row function we request here will return row number 16. And then we add 1 to get the next available row, which is row number 17. And then we create 6 new variables. TS is just a timestamp variable we create. And then the next 5 variables here, we are setting these 5 variables equal to these 5 positions. So the timestamp variable is now going to point to this position. The names variable is going to point here. Orders is going to point here. Emails is going to point here. And phones is going to point here. So that's what these 5 lines of code do. They create 5 new variables that point to different columns within the first empty row. And then these lines of code here just set these positions, which we've defined up here, equal to the values we've gotten for the name string, order string, email string, phone string, and timestamp. So we set the timestamp value equal to the TS variable. We set the names value equal to name string, the orders value equal to the order string, emails equal to the email string, and phones equal to the phone string. So this line of code here populates each of these cells with the different variables. And then the final part of this Google script sends a webhook to Zapier to let Zapier know, hey, we've got all this data ready for you to import here. And we send Zapier the timestamp because later on in Zapier, we are going to use this timestamp to let us know which row we need to pull into Zapier. Now, before showing you how we import all this data into Zapier, I want to show you a cool trick about how you can assign the Google script to a button so that when you press the button, the Google script will run. So to do that, you go Insert, Drawing, select the text box. Let's just call this button. We can give it a background color like red. We can make it bold if we want, and then hit Save and Close. And then to assign a Google script to it, right click on it, click these three dots, and then hit Assign Script. And then the value we put in here is the name of the function within Google Sheets. So it's here, it's this send rows that we are going to copy and paste in here. Click OK. So now whenever we click this button, we can see that the Google script will run. If it's the first time you're running a Google script in your sheet, you'll have to give it permission. So then you just click continue and the script will run and send all the information to Zapier. Okay, so now let me show you how we bring this information into Zapier. So at the very start of our Zap, we are going to have a catch hook action. And the URL we will put in our Google script is this URL here. So we click copy and then we go to our Google script and we paste in this value. So then when we run this script or when we press this button, that will send the webhook to Zapier with this timestamp value. So remember, that's all this webhook is sending. It's sending this timestamp value to Zapier. And then within Zapier, the webhook catches this timestamp. And then we use the Lookup Spreadsheet Row action from Google Sheets. We put in the name of the worksheet. We put in the column we're looking up, which in this case is timestamp. And then we specify the timestamp value that came in from the webhook. And then the final part of this is, once we've looked up this row, we can pull in all of the information we wanted from the Google Sheet using this timestamp lookup. So we take this timestamp, we search this column until we find the timestamp that was sent by the webhook, and then we pull in all of these four values. And then we can use these four values in the create loop from text action by Zapier. And we put in the text delimiter, which in this case is the asterisk. And now we can loop through all of the name, order, email, and phone combinations and do something useful like send an email and send an SMS for each email and phone number we have in our list. If you've never used the create loop from text action within Zapier, then I recommend going down to the What's Next section of this blog post and then clicking on the Zapier loop through array from Google Sheets post. And then when you open this up, there's another walkthrough video in here, which will show you exactly how to use the create loop from text action that I show you here. And there you have it. That's how you can overcome the 500 row import limit from Google Sheets and Zapier, and how you can also import more than 10 megabytes of data while doing this. Just to summarize what we've done in this blog post, we've got a Google script that takes all the rows we are interested in sending to Zapier, the more than 500 rows and the more than 10 megabytes, and it joins all the different row values together for each column into 4 different variables where we use the asterisk character as the delimiter. Then we send a webhook to Zapier containing this timestamp. Zapier uses the Lookup Spreadsheet Row value. It looks up this timestamp, finds this row, then it brings these 4 values into the create loop from text action so that we can then loop through all the names, orders, emails, and phone numbers and send them an email or an SMS. So I hope you found this blog post useful. As I mentioned, if you want to find out how to use that loop through text action in Zapier, then you can take a look at this blog post here. If you want to find out how to do nested looping within Zapier, where you need to iterate more than 500 times, then take a look at the Zapier for each loop quick start guide. And then you can also take a look at the Zapier Google Sheets quick start guide, which shows you the best way to import data into Google Sheets depending on the number of rows you want to bring in and the amount of data you want to bring in. So take a look at these posts here as a follow-up. I hope you found this blog post useful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments in the video. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and a like. Thank you.